Szechuan wontons in chili oil, one of my favorite foods in the whole world, I'm not gonna lie to you. So simple, so easy, so delicious. You can make this in 15 minutes. First thing that we're going to do is we're gonna make our filling, which is equal parts of pork and ground shrimp. Now, the recipe calls for about 8 ounces of each, which will work with the seasoning that we have, and that is soy sauce, sesame oil, salt, ground white pepper, minced ginger, and garlic chives. The last thing that we're going to add are our shrimp. And you can gently pulse this in a food processor if you like. I think it's just as easy to go ahead and rock your knife back and forth a couple times and mince these by hand. And I'm just gonna cut these in half, and then all I'm gonna do is come back the other way. And now I have, you know, a pretty large dice. But I'm gonna switch to a larger knife that has a greater blade area when I start rocking it back and forth. Yes, great. I want it to be a little more coarsely chopped than the grind of the pork. I don't want to spill all over myself, so I just push straight down and just keep flipping this over until I see that what few liquid seasonings we have in there have been incorporated into the pork, and then I use my hands. You want to make sure this is really well incorporated. Some people put a teaspoon of cornstarch in theirs. Right now, what I would rather do is put this in the refrigerator for a couple of hours and let the pork and the shrimp actually absorb the rest of that liquid seasoning. They're gonna cook for such a short amount of time in the boiling water, they're not gonna come out like soup dumplings, but chilling them down for a couple hours really helps. All right, first things first, wonton wrappers. Make a slit and keep them in the plastic because it's gonna prevent them from drying out. If you work slowly, let's say it's your first, second, third time, just take a damp towel and place it over the wonton wrapper so they don't dry out. So I always put them on a board that has a little flour or cornstarch on them so that I don't have any moisture issues and sticking, because once you go to the trouble of making these things, you're gonna wanna make sure, right, that you get to use all of them. Now, like with so many other products, the only mistake that you can make is overstuffing. And what I do is I place, I don't know, a half golf ball on either side, wet one side of my wonton, push down with my fingers so that I can seal, and I push all the air out, as much air as I can. One of the secrets to making these things is occluding all the air. Getting them to stick is not gonna be a problem. And then all you're gonna wanna do is squeeze these together. I call it tortellini style. Now you can get into all kinds of fun and fantastic shapes, but I want to show you kind of what the most crucial piece of this puzzle is. When you put your force meat into the center of the skin, do it crosswise and use your opposing thumb just to take it off so it's sitting roughly in the middle. But the minute that you start putting your folding hand to touch the skin, you have to make sure to clean it, right? Up, seal, squeeze. So this recipe makes 32 wontons. There's 16 of them. So my water is simmering and it's on the way to boiling. That's kind of where I like to put these in. It's easier to toggle down the heat that way. Try to place these where the other ones aren't, and the minute that I see that water boiling, I will back off the heat a little bit. And then, like any other pasta dish in the whole world, the very first thing you do is gently agitate the water and the solids. If you do that once, right at the beginning, there's no sticking. Once they float, I usually go for about another minute or 90 seconds. 6 to a portion, paper towel into a bowl. And then 1 teaspoon of chili oil from the top of our container, and then give it a little stir, and another teaspoon that has more of the solids in there. A little bit of chive on there. You can see there's no air inside a single one of those dumplings. The fact that we had none that broke means that we rolled them properly. And that smoky, spicy chili oil, there's almost no better vehicle for Szechuan chili crisp or chili oil than wontons. Insane.